Well, tonight we're tracking major developments in Oregon's attempt to block President Trump's order sending the National Guard to Portland.
The federal judge originally on the case has recused himself at the DOJ's request. The Trump administration claimed Judge Michael Simon couldn't be on the case because he's married to Congresswoman Suzanne Bonamici. She's publicly spoken out against the deployment. Judge Simon stepped back, saying it is necessary that the focus of this lawsuit remain on the critically important constitutional and statutory issues presented by the parties. The case was randomly reassigned to Judge Karen Immergut, who was appointed by President Trump during his first term.
Tomorrow's hearing will go ahead as scheduled at 10 a.m. and Katu's Christina Giardinelli has spent the day reviewing new details on this lawsuit. And Christina, Trump's lawyers submitted their response to that lawsuit?
Yeah, Steve, that's right. The Department of Justice lawyers submitted a response just a few hours ago, and in it, they're claiming that they need the National Guard to defend the building. They're claiming that federal agents have been, they say, attacked outside this building here. They also say they've had to board it up for safety reasons, even though the city is telling them to take those boards that you see there down because they're a code violation. The city says if they don't take them down, they could pull the permit for this building. Tang Yin, a law professor at Lewis and Clark, says Friday's hearing could go one of three ways.
It's possible that a judge would look at this TRO application and say, you know, this is very interesting. The troops haven't done anything yet, but the government says that the troops are only going to be protecting the building. So I don't think there's a need for a TRO right now.
He says the judge could also order the troops to only stay at the building, or the judge could grant the state's request for a pause on the troops. Some business owners like Sarah Shaul have filed affidavits in support of the state's lawsuit to stop troops.
I mean, look around. It's looking pretty beautiful here, even on a rainy day. And so let's let small businesses do what they do well.
Shaul says the concern is that troops will negatively impact business.
Well, if you look at studies of what happened when troops are deployed in places like Washington, D.C., it has negatively impacted the foot traffic.
Lawyers argue that the National Guardsmen will only be protecting the federal building and will not be roaming the city. They claim federal immigration officers are under attack by protesters in Portland and cite instances where they say the building was nearly set on fire. They say Portland police have not come to help when they called. The state is arguing that bringing in the National Guard will make matters worse and will escalate the protests to larger sizes. In an affidavit to the court, PPB says since the Guard deployment has been announced, they have put in more than 1,100 hours of overtime, which is costing upwards of $100,000.
He's right here too?
Now, PPP has said that they got about half that amount of overtime. I'm going to step away here right now. We'll come back to this later.
I understand that, Christina. We'll talk to you later on. Thank you for that report tonight. Oregon is not the only state suing over the deployment of the National Guard. Earlier this month, a federal judge deemed the Guard's deployment to California in June illegal. The administration has appealed that ruling, and earlier I spoke with a law professor from Willamette University about how far Oregon's case could go.
I think both the California case and this case ultimately end up before the U.S. Supreme Court because it's a difficult question as to the extent to which the president can use the military forces of the United States for domestic law enforcement. That's something that's been very rarely used. The Civil War is the principal example, and I think there are a lot of very good reasons why the U.S. Supreme Court would be concerned about a president being able to deploy the U.S. military for domestic law enforcement purposes.
We will be tracking the legal proceedings very closely tonight, tomorrow, and as this case continues.
Continuing our coverage now with the status of the National Guard troops training in Warrenton. Troops are expected to arrive in Portland as soon as this weekend.
K2 Shelby Slaughter made a trip out to the coast today to check out the location where they're now training.
Camp Rylea in Warrenton, training ground for 200 troops before they arrive in Portland. Oregon Senator Jeff Merkley saying troops are being trained on things like crowd control and the rules for use of force. Right now, it's still vague on what will happen when they leave here.
We're not sure
when the plan is that these federalized Oregon National Guard will actually be assigned, or exactly what they'll be assigned to do.
In a letter to troops, Alan Groenworld, the adjunct general of the Oregon National Guard, says the mission is to protect federal facilities and the federal employees working in them. We heard similar statements from military officials during a legislative committee meeting earlier this week.
The details of the mission are still to be determined, but they are, as you all assumed, to protect federal facilities. That was in the memorandum as well.
And we are here right now at the training base. You can see behind me right now, it is relatively quiet. It's been that way all day. We've seen a few cars come in and out, but no troops yet. I did reach out to the Department of War to see if there's any new information about when the troops will be done with training. I did not hear back. Also, Governor Tina Kotek's office says that this deployment is expected to cost taxpayers an estimated $10 million. Reporting in Warrenton, I'm Shelby Slaughter, K2 News.
Shelby, thank you. K2 is on your side with continuing coverage of the anticipated National Guard rollout. We're tracking all developments over the days ahead. When we're not on air, you can get any breaking developments at your fingertips with the K2 News app.